Hello, friends, and welcome to Words from Behind the Desk, presented by Arwani Law Firm. My name is Vakaira Fai.
And I'm Rania Arwani.
If this is your first time seeing us, thank you so much for joining us. If you are a returning supporter, thank you for your continued support. Please, if you haven't already, go ahead and like us, share us, comment, and engage with us. Remember, this is a live Words from Behind the Desk. And so we read the comments and we love the engagement and everything in that. It could be here, it could be here, it could be there, it could be there. Just go ahead and comment along with us.
So today, guys, we are going to be talking to a brain doctor, a chief wellness officer, a keynote speaker, a mindful leadership expert. So that was a mouthful. Let's welcome
a lot of good stuff thrown there.
Exactly, right? So let's welcome Dr. Romie Mushtaq.
Hi, ladies. Woo! Welcome to the ladies who lunch today on Wednesday.
Yes.
I'm having my coffee right now. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you so much for being here.
Yes. So it tripped you up, Rania, right? It's a true face of an entrepreneur. I've taken my 20 years of experience in neurology and integrative medicine and mindfulness, and now I bring it together to the workplace, and I currently consult as a chief wellness officer for a hospitality company, but run my own company on a woman on a mission to change the brain and mental health of the American workforce. So that's a little bit of what I do without being a mouthful.
That is a little bit, like you said, just barely the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah. People hire me as a workplace wellness expert, and my background is that I'm a physician and I also consult at a C-suite level. Yes.
Amazing.
I love it.
And Bakai, I don't know if you know this, Romie and I are really close, and we actually met over the weekend, and our dogs played together. It was the best, most relaxing thing I've done during the pandemic.
It is, and it was so great because she's got a puppy and I've got an old man dog who can barely see. And so you just imagine it's like a toddler and a senior together. It was hours of endless joy for the both of us. Yeah.
She sends me pictures all the time of Coco, so I'm very jealous right now, but I'm glad you two had a great time.
All right, so let's talk about what is going on. So everyone right now in 2020, Dr. Romie, is stressed, and they wear their stress like a badge of honor. The more stressed I am, the more I'm going to be talking about it, So what advice do you have for people who are stressed? Not me, of course I'm not stressed, but the people who are stressed.
You and I have chatted before. Listen, here's the thing, and we're going to break this down into Romie Real Talk. You hear that there's a brain doctor and people will be like, oh, just bypass this video, no problem. No, let's break it down. First of all, I want you to know is that for the last 5 years, I've had a company where I get invited to talk on large stages and consult with C-suite and management teams and professional athletes to actually assess what stress is doing to their physical and mental performance and help them on it. Now you fast forward and it's 2020 and people are like, okay, yeah, I'm stressed. I'm not sleeping. I'm anxious. So what? And we're really excited. We took everything that I was doing live with corporate clients and like many entrepreneurs switched it virtually. And we just launched the brainSHIFT protocol. And what that means is I want to give people a system to assess what stress is doing to their cognition, their ability to think, their mental health, their mood, and their physical health. And we walk people through a program, whether it's a 1-hour workshop or our 8-week online intensive, that really helps people to do that. So I wanted to give you that background of where this came from. But here's the one thing I want to ask both of you. So we've had over 65 presentations now virtually with corporate teams, anywhere from 25 to over 3,000 people. And we run polls. And what do you think the one thing is that is making everybody stress and anxiety and losing weight difficult? What is the one thing that's making it worse? What would both of you guess?
TV, the news.
The news?
Making it worse, I feel, see, it's like worse. Stress is continuous, right? Like I feel like you get hired in corporations for stress. So what has made it more amplified, I feel like staying within the confines of the stress. Like usually you can get out, you can get away. And now that you can't get out and away from it or escape from it, essentially, that
Look,
you're in it.
we're dealing with politics. We're dealing with important conversations on race relations. We're in the middle of a global pandemic and economic crisis.
Yeah.
But that's not what's causing stress. Here's the one key behavior that we have found that every successful leader and entrepreneur does. They do not engage with any kind of television, specifically the news, even last night, the political debate, or being on social media 2 to 3 hours before bedtime. That has been one of the consistent things. Even when people tell me, well, I just love scrolling on the gram or watching TikTok, it helps me laugh and unwind at the end of the day.
This person.
Or I just get on Facebook, or I get on my favorite news website, and I just want to read to get my mind off of work and homeschooling the children. We find those things that are actually raising your stress hormone levels in your brain. And at night, we're supposed to be feeling more calm and relaxed. But what happens when the lights from the TV and that news, and even if you're on Instagram or Pinterest looking at like happy things, it raises your stress hormone levels. And now you're wired and anxious. And it's no wonder people are like, well, Dr. Romie, that supplement or that prescription that used to work is no longer working. That's why. And so that's the consistent thing that I would say. Look, we can't escape what's going on in the external world. We are all overwhelmed by it. I get it. I'm a female entrepreneur. I'm feeling it every day. Like I have empathy and sympathy for everybody watching right now. But the thing is wait until, the next day to read the news. And so here's some practical advice. Could I give it to you?
Yes, please. Yeah,
always.
Let's see if you could try this. And Vakai, you're going to keep her on track. What do you think?
I love it.
There's a point when you end your work day for everybody, it may be 4, 5, 6 o'clock. At that time, schedule time to update and look at news or at social media. But make sure that there are other things that don't involve news and social media in the 2 to 3 hours before you go to bed.
Like what?
Yeah. Like Vakai, what are some things you would do to unwind at night?
Okay, so this is the thing, right? So I have a social media marketing company. It's very difficult when you tell me to abstain from, and mind you, I also have the 3 children that when they go to sleep, that's when I can get the bulk of my work done. So I hear you 110%. I just feel like I'm such a unique case that I wouldn't be, to unwind at the end of the night is once I put the children to sleep is to laugh. I love to laugh.
So
I laugh with my partner.
Thank you for that honesty, because I hear that from a lot of people, but I also want to help you succeed in your business. So the key would be,
tell it to me.
Let's think of things you can do to relax. And I would rather you wake up early before your kids and get work done rather than late at night. Okay. Because here's the thing, when your stress hormones are going off after a full night of work and managing your young kids, what happens is that it's going to take you 3 to 4 times as longer to get the work done. Yeah. And I'm just going to take a pause. I'm hearing an echo if somebody has their Facebook open simultaneously or something. I think that's why that may be happening. Okay. All right. Yeah. Let's turn off the Facebook simultaneously. Sorry. It is, or that if you're watching, sorry, I tend to take charge, media speed.
I have no idea where they came from.
Okay. But yeah, that's what I was going to say, Vakai, is I get it that you manage social media. So I've just hit a trigger with you. Or like Rania is very honest, like I want to hear the news and what's going on today. Yeah, I get it. I have a social media following I want to engage with as well. It's a part of my business. I want to relax. I want to know what's going on in the world. You just have to shift your schedule, because what you're telling me right now is your brain is not important. Social media and your business is more important than your brain. But I guarantee you, if you found activities to wind down at night, your sleep good and feel good hormones would elevate. You would sleep better, and you would wake up in the morning and get things done 2 to 3 times faster. And
That's
that's the
good.
key. And that's what successful executives and business leaders do. I mean, everybody
Mhm.
is busy, Vakai. Many people are like you with young kids at home to take care of, right?
Mhm.
So here's an example, because most of us are in parts of the country that we can't go out. You know, we have an international audience that's going to be watching this. If you want to watch TV, let's all think of examples of like feel good TV shows. So I'm going to give you one example. Um, the reruns of Extreme Home Makeover, you know, where you see a
Mm.
family that's been through a really bad time. They get their home remodeled and it's a dream home and they're happy at the end. And all of a sudden, those happy hormones are going off. That's an example. Do either one of you have a happy TV show or series you've been binge watching?
You're gonna laugh
Oh my
at me.
gosh. Well,
You're gonna laugh when I say this.
which one?
What
That's a
is it?
secret.
Which
It's
one? Tell me.
90 Day Fiance.
Rania.
Hilarious. I mean, I laugh
I-
like I've never laughed before. Like I just sit and laugh and laugh.
Okay. Well,
I think it's funny.
isn't that kind of stressful? Aren't like people fighting on there?
Yes, but
Dr. Romie, everything is happening on there. They're not fighting. They're trying to figure out life. It's a whole chaotic Rania,
I'm
that's
just
wrong. I already
confused.
know it's wrong.
Here's the thing. The minute I hear you only have a fiance for 90 days, I don't think that's
Come
happening.
on.
Right. And here's the reason. And thank you for that honesty, because there's a lot of shows. Like I used to be a Real Housewives fan on Bravo. But what I
I
realized
love it.
was watching them argue, or that banter and the clap back where we initially think it's funny, it's actually still raising your stress hormone levels. So what I'm asking you to do is find a 30 or 60-minute show or a movie where there's a strong female lead or a really positive ending, that there's happiness and closure. That's how the brain feels relaxed.
okay.
And I'm guessing if 90 Day Fiance is anything like the Real Housewives, girl, that ain't happening.
Yeah. It's similar, very similar.
Is it very similar? Yeah. So those are great examples, you know, and what I've been asking women to do, because women are so much more impacted during this pandemic than men are. You know, women are, as you know, Rania, as a tireless women's advocate, and I want to hear about the latest project you're on. Women in this economy are more likely to get COVID, more likely to have negative effects from it. They're more likely to have lost their job or lost their small businesses. And I want women not to be stressed. I want to empower them. And it's as simple as watching, if you're going to watch TV, watch something positive or a movie with a strong female lead. Like, let that be what is feeding your subconscious mind.
So give me an example. What are you watching?
So I gave you an example, Extreme House Makeover. There's another show, Tidying, on Netflix. These women go in and organize the house. And they built, and Vakai's not on here, but you know, they built their business on Instagram, and now celebrities and everyday people hire them to tidy things up. But here's another thing I do when I don't want to watch. I think, Rania, you and I are similar in this way, that we like to be in control and get things done, right? A doctor and a lawyer have a similar personality, and I'm sure so many people watching can relate to that, men and women.
Mm-hmm.
I will shut the TV or Netflix down, and I actually am like, what's a task that I can complete before bedtime that I feel the satisfaction that I got something done, like folding laundry, washing the dishes, loading the dishwasher. There's a sense of relief that I started on a task and I had control over it and I finished it.
Yes.
And it sounds really silly, but that sense of control is what takes the anxiety away.
I agree with you. Sometimes, I mean, this is going to sound weird, but sometimes if I like just doing housework actually makes me de-stress. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And then you and I talked about it, playing with our pets,
Mm-hmm.
finding activities to do. Here are some of the other activities that we've been hearing from our successful corporate clients. They are forcing themselves to shut down work and reading an actual book or magazine. People have taken up puzzles, as you know, knitting, do-it-yourself home projects, pottery. Like, find something, and it's okay if you're miserable at it, but just it's a way to calm down at night. But the biggest mistake people make is saying, I'm going to get work done at night, or I'm going to get on social media to unwind. Like, if your listeners can just avoid that, honestly, we're going to reduce the stress levels, reduce the anxiety, reduce the alcohol consumption. And by the way, we're putting teams through this protocol. They're actually measuring improved productivity and sense of happiness among their employees at work during this pandemic.
Wow.
So
Wow.
we have research to back that up.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
Dr. Romie, tell us about your mission and how it all got started. How did you start on this endeavor of figuring out everything in the brain?
Yeah, well, it started as I entered neurology or medicine, being a brain doctor at a time where less than 5% of brain doctors in the United States were women. Okay, so as a woman, that meant I had to work 3 times as hard, and I was proud, and I loved it, and I subspecialized in epilepsy. But exactly 10 years ago, I was wearing my stress like a badge of honor, going, who isn't stressed? Keep working. I was working 80 to 100-hour work weeks, not slowing down. And I ended up getting very sick and having life-saving surgery. And it was at that time, mindfulness and integrative medicine were introduced to me. And listen, Kai, baby, you're young. Like, this was at a time before YouTube was up on, and it was everybody's favorite medical school. There wasn't some bougie app on your watch saying, girl, pause, breathe. Like, it was weird. You had to go to the library and check out these books that talked about mindfulness, and it didn't make sense to me completely as a brain doctor. So I ended up traveling the world working with mindfulness and meditation and Ayurveda teachers. I came back and got an additional degree or board certification in integrative medicine, and that's when that aha moment came. I started to practice integrative medicine here, and I was like, why am I waiting till everybody is burnt out, stressed out, gaining weight, their hormones are all whacked? I'm going to the workplace directly and telling these leaders, like, hey, you've got to take care of the health of your employees. And so it used to be out of box thinking. I was the out of box speaker. Wow, we've got a brain doctor to come and talk about mindfulness and mindful leadership. And then 2 years ago, I was named as Chief Wellness Officer at Evolution Hospitality, where we scaled the mindfulness and wellness program to over 7,000 employees.
Wow.
So that was such a big honor to be able to do that. And now it was, well, how do we take everything I've learned and bring it virtually? Because the method of delivery of my business died with the pandemic, right? I'm not getting on a plane and speak to an audience of thousands at an annual convention. How do we do it virtually? And that's where the brainSHIFT protocol was, because my mission is the same. The important thing now is companies are realizing, hey, our employees are really stressed out. They're having mental health issues. We need to get some expert help. And we come in not just talking at them, but with actual solutions that are tailored to work from home and our essential workers that are burnt out at the front lines. And so that's what we've been working on.
That's amazing. That's
incredible.
Extremely. So, Dr. Romie, so you've been doing this for quite some time, and with your experience and your education, with the pandemic and with everything that's going on, and you are able to get on a flight and fly to California, fly to different parts of the United States to do what you do and help people lead their teams. How are you doing it right now with the pandemic?
With the pandemic, yeah. So people and companies are hiring me to work with their teams virtually. But, I'm not just sitting here on a set talking at people with slides. We make it an interactive, engaging workshop. All of my workshops include a stress assessment. So people are getting their stress numbers live, and leaders are seeing how bad the problem is by the range.
Right.
And then for a 7-day solution. So on my website at drromie.com, we have specific programs for people to manage stress themselves personally, and how to bring mindfulness and scale it into an organization while we're working from home. The power of pause in order to help your teams with mindful leadership. So we do these programs virtually, and then we have our 8-week intensive program, which we're taking corporate clients through now, which is brainSHIFT. And we introduce a micro habit or a shift that they do every week. And we measure their stress at the beginning, at the end, and the results are profound, Rania. I mean, people are not only saying that they're sleeping better, that their anxiety disappeared, they're saying their marriage improved, or their rheumatoid arthritis got better, or they never knew that they had an underlying disease until we told them to get these labs because we saw the stress patterns. And I mean, it's life transformative. And most of all, teams and people are happy even in the middle of this pandemic, because we're welcoming into a bubble, giving them tangible skills that anyone can do at home and transforming their personal habits.
And all of
Right.
this virtually. You're
It's all done virtually. Yeah. Until we
amazing.
travel again, which, most of my corporate clients are right now working from home through mid 2021. And I think we don't anticipate large meetings to come back next year. We don't know, but right now, but all of my speakers bureaus are booking all virtual. And so, it's not, you're sitting here seeing me casual as your homie, Dr. Romie, in my office, but we have ability to use screens and a professional AV crew. There are large companies that are doing virtual conferences. So I'm still standing but it's like I'm in your living room instead of you and all the technology.
Perfect.
I think that is so cool that there's organizations that understand how stress trickles down into the workplace and
Yeah.
how they have reached out or figured out how to obtain a solution on a mass level, right? I think that that is super, super cool. And congratulations on
you.
launching BrainSHIFT.
Thank you. We're so
Guys,
excited. Yeah. You know this, both of you being in the law firm and working virtually, like all of us have had to figure it out. And for
Totally.
what I do, it's such deep work, and nothing made me happier than to get hugs from workshop attendees or sit face to face with an executive leadership team, and that we can do this kind of deep work virtually. We found that people actually feel more open and likely to do the work because you feel safe when you're sitting in your own office or bedroom watching on a computer screen.
Right. Right.
Totally.
Oh my gosh, congratulations on everything, guys. If you are seeking more information or curious on BrainShift, please visit drromie.com for more information. And Dr. Romie, I wanted to know, what advice do you have for people leading teams to help their employees? Because it's what you do on an one-on-one level, on a corporate level, on a mass level. What advice can you give to some business owners that are seeking to help their team?
I have, as a fellow business owner and leader in an organization, I have empathy. You're worried about two things simultaneously. You're worried about the well-being of your employees. Most leaders I work with are heart-centered. They believe in servant mindful leadership. They really care about their team members. But on top of it, as a business owner or leader, you have to worry about the bottom line, right? And the ROI. And the key thing is to remember, if you care for your people, your business will be taken care of. And really start from there. Now, here's some practical advice, Vakai, is like, I am one of those people, I don't know about both of you, but I'm constantly wondering, like, we had a virtual team to begin with, but you're always wondering, like, is the task getting done? Because I'm not
completely.
We're not in the office together. I can't just pop into someone's office and say, hey, where are we on that proposal or whatever, right? The key is this is a time, if you already haven't figured it out, is to figure out a good task manager system, but minimize the meetings, minimize the virtual meetings, because meetings overall are not productive. And the more you're keeping your team members on a video conference call, or even if they're not there, the less likely they're going to be work, and they're going to feel pressured. And just remember, like, all of us are feeling pressure and worry about our loved ones. So are your employees. So if something happens, and normally at the office, they would have been there for the 10 a.m. meeting, and maybe today they weren't, remember to lead with your heart. And remember, they may have kids at home or an elderly parent that's not doing well, right? So always lead from the heart and give people grace. And at least once a week, when you are connecting, make it brief, but make it personal. Don't start with this loaded word of, Vakai, Rania, how are you feeling today? Instead, one of the most powerful mindful exercises we use is, what is something you're thankful for that happened this week? And even and acknowledge, say, hey, it was a tough week. There are fires right now burning in California for a lot of our corporate clients. I'm worried about them, right? There's a lot on the world, but what's something, despite all that's going on, that you're thankful for? And what's something you did to care for yourself or cope this week? And when you're having those open conversations, people really know that you care and listen. Don't give advice. So if I ask my team members, I don't start giving advice and saying, wow, did you try this for your children? Or maybe you should not drink that Coca-Cola and drink water instead. Don't start dispensing advice. Just listen.
Right. That's good. That's super good. I'm so sorry, ladies. We have a comment and I wanted to acknowledge it. Candy Bryan said, "This is so good. My stress over many years led to stage 3 cancer. I could have died. That was my wake-up call." And then she also said, "My workplace was so toxic, and us as sales managers, leaders, we are carrying so much stress." Thank you for this powerful conversation.
Thank you, Candy. And I hear you and I see you and I believe in your body's ability to heal. And you are not alone. I mean, even BC before COVID, I would hear this. The stress was so bad that people's cancer got worse or they ended up in remission or out of remission. And you're not alone. You know, you heard my story. The stress pulled me into that life-saving surgery. So I'm going to ask you, Candy, when you're watching, what's one thing you're doing to take care of yourself every single day?
I love that. Oh my gosh, Candy, thank you so much for your comment.
Thank you, Candy. And Dr. Romie, I know you are very busy, but I have one last question.
Absolutely.
And I'm asking for a friend of mine. So
not me.
Friend. Not for me, for my friend. So what advice do you have for people who are anxious? They can't sleep, they're overwhelmed. I mean, I know we talked about it at the beginning, but what else can you add I'm asking for the friend, you know who I'm
yes, not me. Girl, hashtag asking for a friend. Here's the thing is Googling an answer or trying to follow like the coolest influencer on Instagram and doing what they're doing is only likely going to make your anxiety and insomnia worse. Because somebody swears some supplement or some machine or some other nonsense cured them, you're going to pay too much money and ain't going to do diddly squat. And now you feel worse, right? And then you start the cycle all over again, right? So here is the thing I'm going to say is if you have health insurance through your employer, contact employee assistance program and let somebody screen your anxiety. There are 8 subtypes of anxiety. And if you want some medically researched resources, you can find them for free on my blog at drromie.com. It kind of starts to talk about what to do in this pandemic world. The key is, number one, get the diagnosis of the right type of anxiousness or anxiety you're feeling. Remember, it's normal to feel anxious during the day. I was anxious trying to wrap up a meeting to get onto this interview on time, right? That's normal. But it's different to feel anxious versus having an anxiety disorder. So figure out, and then the thing is in integrative medicine, we get to the root cause of it. And so I gave you one already. The most common root cause is that people are on screens all day long, and then they're trying to use screens at night to relax, but social media and the news is elevating that. So instead, find a physical activity or a chore you can do. So start there. We have a lot of free resources on my website, and you can go to drromie.com.
Perfect.
I love that, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, if you are seeking more information for stress relievers, just to get a little bit more clarification, go ahead and visit drromie.com. Dr. Romie, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate so much your time and breaking the brain down for us. I appreciate it.
I loved hearing it. Thank you for all that you both are doing, especially empowering women and working with the United Abolitionists for human trafficking. Look, as a fellow woman leader in the community, I honor what you and your entire law firm is doing to support women in our community, especially at a time like now in this economic crisis and global pandemic, and really going to, Rania, thank you. You sit on the board of the United Abolitionists. To all my followers that are listening, we're going to put a link to that important work that they're doing to help curb the human trafficking, which is unfortunately only getting worse right now during the pandemic.
Really bad, really bad. Thank you, Dr. Romie. You have been amazing, and thank you.
Guys, thank you again for joining us on Words from Behind the Desk, presented by Arwani Law Firm. Remember, if you have any questions or comments, you can always email us at manager@arwanilawfirm.com. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to seeing you guys again next week. We hope you have an incredible rest of your week. And until next time, bye, guys.
Bye-bye.